You did like you always do.
We gotta hit the fuck back, man.
It's about showing who the fuck we are. We already cut Raq off at the knees. I want to cut off at the fucking neck. How many more wars you trying to have at the same time? You about to find out.
Kanan just found out the man standing next to him might be his own blood. And now everyone around him is about to pay the price for that secret coming out. What happens next could change the entire final season forever. Episode 5, School of War, ended in a way nobody was fully ready for, and if you go back and watch it closely, you start to realize just how much was actually happening underneath the surface. Raq and Marvin made a move that could have ended this whole war in one clean shot. They brought in a crew from Memphis to take out Stephano before he became an even bigger problem. On paper, that plan should have worked. But the moment one of those 3 contract killers switched sides, everything fell apart. Stephano didn't just survive. He now knows exactly what Raq tried to do to him, and that changes everything about how dangerous the next few episodes are going to be. A man like Stephano doesn't forgive an attempt on his life. He responds to it, and I think Raq is about to learn that surviving an attack is sometimes worse than the attack itself, because now she's dealing with an enemy who has both motive and proof. At the same time, Kanan and Breeze have been getting closer, and their partnership has clearly stopped being just business. In the final moments of episode 5, Breeze told Kanan something that completely reframes their entire relationship. He said they're blood brothers, both sons of DefCon. If that's true, it means Kanan isn't just working alongside Breeze, he's connected to him in a way that goes deeper than loyalty or strategy. And I think that reveal is going to hit Kanan harder than anyone expects, because his entire life has been built around finding out the truth about his family, and now that truth might be even messier than he imagined. Whether Breeze is telling the full truth or using this claim to pull Kanan even further into his orbit is something we still don't fully know. But either way, Kanan is now more entangled with Breeze than he's ever been with his own mother. Going back further, episode 4 is the piece that really set this entire chain of events in motion. Kanan got close to a young woman named Jarita, and used that closeness to manipulate her into swapping a client's drug delivery with a lethal batch. That single decision ended up killing a federal judge. And once something like that happens, there's no walking it back. That's not just street conflict anymore. That's the kind of death that brings serious heat down on everyone involved. And I think that's exactly why episode 6 is being built up as such a turning point. Because Kanan didn't just make an enemy of Raq's operation, he created a problem that could expose the entire network if it isn't handled carefully. What makes this moment in the story so tense is that every major player now has a reason to be afraid of someone else. Raq is afraid of what Stephano might do now that he knows the truth. Kanan is being pulled deeper into a version of himself, built around Breeze's influence instead of his mother's. And Jukebox, who has been quietly working her own angle this entire season, is one wrong move away from being caught in the middle of all of it. According to the official description for episode 6, Raq's war with Kanan, Breeze, and Stephano is going to grow even more violent, Kanan's deception of Tiana is going to escalate, and Jukebox is going to make a mistake that leaves her seriously exposed. If you put all of that together, episode 6 isn't just another chapter in this story. It feels like the moment where all of these separate fires finally start burning into one massive collision. The deception between Kanan and Tiana is probably the storyline that's going to hurt the most to watch unfold, because unlike most of the lies in this show, this one isn't just business, it's personal. Tiana has clearly developed real feelings for Kanan, and based on everything we've seen this season, I don't think that connection is one-sided anymore either. But Kanan has been using that closeness for his own purposes from the very beginning, and now that his deception is set to escalate even further in episode 6, I think we're heading toward a moment where Tiana finally starts to see cracks in the story Kanan has been feeding her. The tragedy here is that if she does uncover the truth about what he's really been doing, it won't just break her trust, it could put her directly in the path of danger, especially with Flossie and Marvin already circling her from other directions. Once someone like Tiana becomes a liability instead of an asset, the people around her stop protecting her and start calculating what to do about her, and that's a terrifying place for her character to end up. Jukebox's storyline is the one I think deserves just as much attention, because she has spent this entire season trying to quietly get answers about what really happened to Famous. She's been playing a long game, staying close to people who might know the truth, and carefully avoiding suspicion while she gathers what she needs. But the official description for episode 6 makes it clear that her misstep is going to leave her under threat, and that tells me her careful approach is finally going to slip. When someone spends this long trying to stay hidden while digging into dangerous information, one mistake is usually all it takes to expose everything. I think Jukebox is going to get closer to the truth about Famous than ever before, but the price of that knowledge might be her own safety, and that's the kind of tension that makes this final season so hard to look away from. What makes all of this even heavier is something the show's creator has said directly about this final season. Sasha Penn has confirmed that Season 5 is going to answer every major question tied to this story, including a definitive explanation of exactly how Kanan ends up responsible for Jukebox's fate in the original Power timeline. That's not a small detail. That means everything happening right now, the trust building between Kanan and Jukebox, the loyalty she's shown him, the risk she's taking to protect him, all of it is leading somewhere devastating. And I think episode 6 might be the moment where we start to see the very first cracks in that relationship, the kind of cracks that don't feel dangerous yet, but that we'll look back on later and realize this is exactly where it all started going wrong. Meanwhile, Marvin is sitting in one of the most dangerous positions of anyone in this story. He's caught between Raq, who he's supposed to be loyal to, and his own history with Kanan, which has been nothing but violent and personal. After everything that's happened between them, I don't think Marvin is capable of simply stepping back and letting this conflict play out. And with Flowce's operation clearly under pressure as Kanan and Breeze continue expanding their reach, I think Marvin is going to be pushed into making a move he can't take back. Whether that move is aimed at Kanan directly, or at someone close to Kanan as a way to send a message, either path leads to consequences that ripple through every other storyline we've been tracking. And then there's Unique, who has spent this entire season trying to hold on to whatever power and reputation he has left. With Raq's operation destabilizing, Stephano now aware of the attempt on his life, and Kanan and Breeze becoming a genuine threat to the entire Queen's drug trade, I think Unique is going to be forced to pick a side much sooner than he wants to. Staying neutral isn't going to be an option anymore once the violence Stars has already promised for episode 6 actually happens. Every one of these characters is being pushed toward a decision, and I think the choices they make in this next episode are going to define exactly how bloody the final 3 episodes of this series become. All of this brings us to the moment I think fans are dreading and anticipating in equal measure, the confrontation between Kanan and Raq. Their relationship has been unraveling since Season 1, but it feels different now. Kanan isn't the confused teenager trying to understand his mother's world anymore. He's someone who has built his own power, found his own alliances, and started making decisions without needing her permission or approval. And I think Raq is starting to realize that the version of her son she used to be able to control simply doesn't exist anymore. With Stefano now aware of her attempt on his life, and with her authority already weakened from every direction, Raq is running out of room to make mistakes. If Kanan decides to use this moment of vulnerability against her, even indirectly, I think we could be watching the beginning of the end for whatever relationship these two had left to salvage. What makes this especially painful is that despite everything, I don't think either of them has fully let go of the other. Raq has spent this entire series trying to protect Kanan, even when her methods were destructive, manipulative, or outright dangerous. And Kanan, no matter how much he resents her, still carries the weight of everything she's done for him and to him. I think episode 6 is going to force both of them into a position where love and survival stop being separate things, and they're going to have to choose one over the other. That's the kind of moment that defines a final season. Not just action, not just violence, but the emotional cost of two people who used to be everything to each other slowly becoming enemies they can't afford to trust. And that's exactly what makes Breeze's presence in Kanan's life so unsettling. If the blood brother claim is true, then Kanan is walking away from his actual mother and gravitating toward a man who may be using shared blood as a way to manipulate him into a war that benefits Breeze far more than it benefits Kanan. I think Breeze is playing a much longer game than anyone realizes, and Kanan, desperate for identity and belonging after years of being lied to, might be the perfect person to pull into that plan. Whether Breeze genuinely wants a brother or simply wants a weapon he can control is something I think episode 6 is going to start hinting at, even if the full truth doesn't come out yet. With Stephano now moving with real intent, Marvin sitting on the edge of a decision he can't undo, Jukebox one mistake away from exposure, Tiana getting closer to the truth about Kanan's deception, and Raq facing the very real possibility of losing her son completely. I think episode 6 is going to be the moment where this season stops slowly building tension and starts paying all of it off at once. Every storyline we've been tracking has been quietly building toward collision, and based on everything Stars has already confirmed about this episode, I don't think a single one of these characters walks away from it the same person they were before. This is exactly why Raising Kanan has become one of the most emotionally brutal shows in the entire Power universe. It was never just about the drug game or the violence, it was about a family that loved each other and destroyed each other at the same time, and a son who kept trying to become his own man while still being shaped by everything his mother built. As this final season keeps pushing toward its ending, I think we're going to look back at episode 6 as the moment everything changed, the moment the show stopped hinting at tragedy and finally let it happen in front of us. If this breakdown had you feeling every bit of that tension the way I did while putting it together, do me a favor and hit that like button, it genuinely helps this channel keep growing. And if you haven't already, subscribe because we're breaking down every single episode of this final season all the way to the very end, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Kanan and Raq's relationship is truly beyond saving? Do you believe Breeze is telling the truth about being blood brothers? Or is he manipulating Kanan for something bigger? Drop your theories in the comments below because this community always sees things I miss, and I read every single one. Stay locked in because episode 6 is about to change everything we thought we knew about this family.